So our story starts with a pretty simple wish. Akisaki Haruya just wants a peaceful high school life. No drama, no attention, no weird social situations. Just show up, survive class, and go home. Basically, my guy wants NPC mode activated 24/7. Haruya is the kind of guy who intentionally avoids standing out. He keeps to himself, speaks only when necessary, and makes sure nobody pays special attention to him. By now, about a month into high school, he's fully settled into that background character position. And honestly, that's exactly how he likes it. Meanwhile, his class has 3 girls everyone talks about, the so-called S-class beauties. Yeah, the name sounds ridiculous, but apparently it fits. First is Rin Kunihata, the energetic and charming center of the group. Then there's Yuna Fukamori, known for her calm vibe and beautiful long black hair. And finally, Sara Himekawa, who's elegant, polite, and basically has that flawless rich girl aura. To Haruya, these 3 are people from a completely different world. Pretty to look at, sure, but absolutely not people he plans to get involved with. Then, one of his classmates, Kazumiya Yuki, suddenly approaches him. Yuki notices Haruya looking in the girl's direction and immediately starts teasing him, asking if he's interested in any of them. Haruya shuts that down fast. He says there's nothing going on and that he's not interested. Yuki just looks at him like, yeah, now I get why you're always alone. And honestly, fair. Still, Haruya doesn't care. He thinks getting involved with popular girls would only bring trouble, jealousy, and unnecessary drama. He wants none of that. Because unlike everyone else, Haruya already has something he genuinely looks forward to after school. Once classes end, he goes home, drops his bag, removes his glasses, blazer, and tie, then looks into the mirror. And yeah, plot twist, the plain, forgettable guy from school is actually insanely handsome. My man is running a full Clark Kent setup. At school, he intentionally hides his looks so nobody notices him. It's all part of maintaining that peaceful life. After changing, he heads out for his daily routine. And no, it's not sports, gaming, or hanging out. This man goes to buy shoujo manga every single day. Honestly, respect. At the bookstore, Haruya gets completely absorbed in the latest volume. This is his happy place. To him, spending time like this is way better than dealing with social nonsense. After leaving the store, he keeps thinking about the manga he just read. In the previous volume, the heroine got attacked by a thug and the male lead saved her at the perfect moment, and he's already imagining how cool the continuation is going to be. And then, reality suddenly starts copying fiction. Nearby, he hears a man aggressively trying to convince a girl to become a model. The girl keeps politely refusing, clearly uncomfortable. Haruya notices something feels off immediately. This doesn't look like a real scouting. It looks like some creep using a fake excuse to hit on a girl. The girl seems cute, and for some reason her voice feels familiar. Then things escalate fast. The man grabs her hand. The girl cries out, and Haruya freezes. He wants to ignore it. Every instinct tells him not to get involved. He's scared, nervous, and fully aware that he's not some heroic manga protagonist. But then he remembers the story he just read, and before he can talk himself out of it, he steps forward. He slaps the man's hand away and moves in front of the girl. Inside, pure panic. His brain is basically screaming, but somehow his face stays calm. Then he says the most embarrassingly cool line imaginable, telling the guy he's too old to be acting like a child. Bro really pulled a shoujo mea lead line in real life. The man clicks his tongue, assumes the girl has a boyfriend, and backs off. Just like that, the danger passes. Haruya stands there for a second, still trying to process what he just did, and then the girl starts thanking him. That's when he realizes he's still holding her hand. Instant system crash. He panics, lets go immediately, apologizes, tells you to get home safely, and runs. Just straight up runs. No explanation, no cool exit, gone. Meanwhile, the girl stays behind, touching the hand he held. Her face turns bright red.
Back home that night, Haruya is face down on his bed, suffering from maximum cringe damage. He keeps replaying the scene over and over. That line, that pose, that dramatic entrance, everything. He's dying inside. He tells himself he would never normally say something that cheesy. The secondhand embarrassment is destroying him so badly he wants to disappear. But even while cringing, one thought keeps returning: the girl's face and the warmth of her hand. He quietly wonders if she got home safely. Then Monday arrives. Haruya is minding his own business when he overhears something interesting. Rin is excitedly talking to Sara about the guy who helped her deal with someone bothering her. Wait, Sara? Haruya starts listening. Rin is basically freaking out, saying the whole thing sounds super cool. Yuna agrees it really feels like something straight out of a shoujo manga. Sara explains that the guy could have ignored the situation like everyone else, but instead he chose to help. As expected, Sara sounds genuinely grateful. Rin immediately asks the important question: did she get his contact info? Yuna agrees. Come on, that sounds like fate. The moment Yuna compares it to a shoujo manga, Sara gets bright red. She gets flustered and quickly denies anything like that. Then she adds that her family has already arranged someone for her anyway. Rin looks disappointed. Haruya, meanwhile, is silently processing everything. He also saved a girl, but no way, right? No way that girl was Sara Himakawa. Impossible. In his head, the guy Sara is talking about must have looked cool, confident, and heroic. Definitely not someone like him, who internally almost died from fear. Sure, the girl he saved was cute. Sure, her voice sounded familiar, but that has to be coincidence, right? At this point, Haruya still believes this conversation has absolutely nothing to do with him. He has no idea this is the beginning of his peaceful school life falling apart. Later, while walking outside, Haruya gets a message on his phone. It's from Nayu-san. She asks if she read the manga she recommended. Nayu-san is basically the only person Haruya can openly talk to about his hobby, so naturally he takes her messages seriously. Soon he arrives at a cafe he visits regularly. Since starting high school, he's been coming here 3 times a week. Since he lives alone, this place has become important to him. Then a waitress approaches him. She cheerfully greets him and Haruya responds by calling her Kokinata-san. Yeah, Kokinata. That name should already be ringing alarms. She asks if he wants his usual order and he says yes. Then, out of nowhere, she leans close to his ear and whispers that her break is about to start, so he should wait for her. Haruya instantly turns red. Because personal space, hello? And the weird part is, she looks almost exactly like Rin Kohinata from school. At first, Haruya brushes it off as coincidence. No way, right? No way. After she leaves, Haruya finally replies to Nayu-san, apologizing for taking so long. He mentions something strange happened in class today. Then his food arrives, but instead of leaving after serving him, Kohinata sits down right across from him. Haruya freezes. He asks what she's doing. She smiles like this is completely normal and says it's the usual. The usual? My guy has accepted chaos into his schedule at this point. That she casually says that considering our relationship, you understand why she's sitting here, right? Relationship? Haruya is already struggling to keep up. Before she can continue, his phone buzzes again. It's Nayu-san. She said something curious happened on her side too. Haruya asks what happened. At the same time, Kohinata tries to get his attention. Still distracted by his phone, he only gives absent-minded responses. Then she suddenly blurts out that someone tried hitting on her. At that exact moment, Nayu-san's message says, someone tried hitting on one of her friends. Haruya pauses. Okay, that's weird. Very weird.
Kohinata asks if something's wrong or if the taste tastes bad. Haruya quickly says no, it tastes the same as always. She blushes a little after hearing that, then clearly embarrassed admits something. Actually, it wasn't her who got hit on, it was her friend. Haruya gives her a flat stare. I see. Your friend? Yeah, sure. Your friend. Nice save. Haruya keeps thinking about all the beautiful girls around him lately. Nayu-san from the offline shoujo meetup, the cafe waitress Kohinata-san, and the girl he saved the other day. Even though he never clearly saw Nayu-san's face because of her sunglasses, he's pretty sure she's beautiful too. At this point, my guy starts questioning reality. Is he accidentally living inside a shoujo manga? Because the number of beautiful girls entering his life lately is getting suspicious. Before he can spiral further, Kohinata interrupts and asks if he's even listening. She sighs and said she wanted to ask about his love life. Haruya, completely off guard, says, "Wait, what?" She immediately backs off and says, "It's nothing." Yeah, sure, totally nothing. As Haruya keeps thinking, he concludes that getting hit on is probably just normal for girls that attractive. And right then, someone bumps into Haruya. A girl quickly apologizes but loses her balance and starts falling. Haruya instinctively catches her. He asks if she's okay. The girl looks up and, freezes. Then she recognizes him. It's the girl from that day, Sarah. Haruya's brain instantly short-circuits. He awkwardly tells you to take care and tries to leave immediately. In his mind, if he keeps randomly appearing around her, she'll probably think he's some creepy stalker. But before he can escape, she grabs his shirt and asks him to wait. Blushing, she said she wants to properly thank him for helping her. Haruya tells her there's really no need. He assumes she just feels bad about owing him something. But Sarah doesn't let it go. Eventually, he gives in. The second he agrees, Sarah's face lights up, and then she grabs his hand. Again, she happily thanks him and leads him away. Haruya is just standing there mentally buffering. At the cafe, Sarah thanks Haruya again for both days, that day and today. She said she's really grateful. Haruya awkwardly smiles and says it's fine. He even jokes that thanks to her, she got to enjoy some pretty good cake. That helps lighten the mood. Then their conversation shifts to sweets. Sarah starts talking about sweets and preferences, mentioning how people often assume she doesn't dislike anything. Then she pauses and questions that assumption. What does it even mean to look like someone who doesn't dislike things? The moment the topic turns personal, Sarah becomes much more expressive and talkative. Haruya notices immediately. And then Sarah catches herself and apologizes, but Haruya stops her. He tells her she doesn't need to apologize, and that being able to clearly express what you like or dislike is actually important. Sarah quietly agrees. For a second, the atmosphere gets awkward. Haruya internally panics. Did he say something weird? Did he accidentally step on a landmine? But Sarah gently moves past it. Smiling again, she said she's glad she got to properly thank him. That alone made her happy. After that, their time together comes to an end. Haruya offers to walk her home if she wants. Sarah immediately gets flustered and declines. She says goodbye and leaves quickly. Watching her go, Haruya starts overthinking again. Did she find him weird? Did he mess something up? He sighs. Well, they probably won't meet again anyway. Yeah, about that. Back at school, Haruya overhears the S-class Beauties talking again. Rin excitedly tells Sara that the whole thing sounds like fate. Yuna agrees and says it's honestly amazing. Sara admits she's glad she got to thank him. Rin teases her, saying inviting him out for food was pretty bold. Then Rin jokingly wonders who's better, the person she and Yuna are interested in or Sara's mysterious hero. Yuna says the more she hears about him, the more she wants to meet him too. Sara gets flustered instantly. She denies she likes him and insists she only invited him to thank him. Rin starts teasing her harder. Yuna joins in. Sara gets adorably frustrated and begs them to stop, and that's when Haruya suddenly stands up. His chair scrapes loudly. His brain is finally connecting dots. Wait a second. He immediately bolts out of the classroom. Outside, he tries to calm himself. The things the girls said, the cafe, the gratitude, the time, and everything matches, but no way. Himekawa Sara, the literal S-class beauty, is talking about him. That's impossible. He keeps trying to convince himself. He's nothing like the cool, heroic guy they're imagining. No chance. Feeling overheated, he heads to the rooftop entrance to cool off. Standing there, he looks outside and mutters that the view is beautiful. He removes his glasses and adjusts his hair, then a voice behind him says, "It really is beautiful." Haruya freezes. He knows that voice. Slowly, he turns around, and there she is, Sara Himekawa, right behind him. Instant panic. Sara smiles and says she's surprised. Apparently, they go to the same school. Haruya's brain completely crashes. No, this can't be real. The person Sara has been talking about, the mysterious guy everyone is imagining, it's him, Akisaki Haruya. He internally screams. This is terrible, because now he realizes something even worse. Thanks to the girls' conversations, everyone has probably built some perfect fantasy image of this mysterious savior. Cool, handsome, reliable, heroic, basically shoujo male lead material. Meanwhile, the actual guy is a socially awkward manga addict trying to avoid human interaction. This is a disaster. He immediately imagines worst-case scenarios. What if Sara publicly says something like, "My destined person is actually my classmate"? School-wide investigation, rumors everywhere, peaceful life deleted. No, absolutely not. He decides right there, whatever happens, he cannot let anyone figure out he's that guy. And if possible, he needs to lower Sara's impression on him. Sara breaks the silence by commenting on the sunset. Then she casually points out something else. This rooftop area is supposed to be restricted. She asks why he's here. Haruya quickly says the lock was broken. Sara points out that a broken lock doesn't make trespassing okay. Haruya immediately folds. Fair.
Meanwhile, he's thinking, girl, you're here too. Sara then admits, blushing a little, that she'd been feeling uneasy all day and ended up wandering around the school. Haruya understands. Then Sara says the broken lock should probably be reported. He asks if they can just not report it. Sara refuses immediately. She reminds him again that they really shouldn't be here. Then she turns to leave. Panic mode activates. Without thinking, Haruya grabs her hand and tells her to wait. Sara stops, looks down at their hands, and instantly turns red. Haruya, still holding her hand, desperately says he'll do anything if she keeps quiet about the rooftop. Sara looks at him. Anything? Haruya says yes. Sara blushes even more. Then she quietly makes her request. She wants to exchange contact info. Haruya blinks. That's it? That's the request? He agrees instantly, no problem. Sara happily shows him her QR code and asks him to add her. Haruya starts registering the contact and suddenly freezes. Wait, his real name. If he uses his real account, his cover is gone. Emergency brain processing. He instantly makes a decision. He'll use the name of his favorite manga protagonist instead. After fixing everything, he hands the phone back. Crisis averted, or so he thinks.
Sara looks at the contact name. Yusai? Haruya confirms it. Then she asks what class he's in, and once again, critical danger. If he tells the truth, she'll find him instantly. So he panics and blurts out, "First year class I." Silence. Sara stares. Then she starts laughing, not mocking, genuinely amused. She points out that first-year classes only go up to H. Class I doesn't exist. Haruya dies inside. Sara smiles and says he's really unique. Then she gently adds that if talking about it is difficult, he doesn't need to force himself. Haruya apologizes again. Internally, he tries to convince himself this is good. Yes, perfect. She must think he's weird and suspicious now. Exactly what he wanted. Mission successful. Except Sara doesn't look bothered at all. Instead, she seems even more interested. She asks what kind of circumstances he has, but says he really doesn't need to apologize so much. Then she smiles and says it's nice to meet him. Haruya awkwardly says it's nice meeting her too. Sara tells him she's also a first year, so he doesn't need to be so formal. Then she says something that catches him off guard. She'd be happy if he called her by her first name instead of Himekawa. Haruya hesitates, then quietly says, Sara. She freezes, clearly surprised. Then a soft smile appears on her face. She says she's looking forward to getting to know him better. Haruya internally makes one final decision. As long as he keeps acting weird enough, he can lower her opinion, avoid attention, and eventually return to peaceful NPC life, right? Later that night, Sara lies on her bed replaying everything. She thinks about how bold she was today. She thinks about him calling her by her first name. She thinks about the fake class he gave, Class I, a class that doesn't even exist. And instead of being annoyed, she blushes, then smiles. She quietly calls him a really unique person. She still can't believe they go to the same school. It feels exactly like something from a shoujo manga. After rolling around in embarrassment for a bit, she grabs her phone. Now comes the hard part, sending the first message. Not too formal, not too casual. She stares at the screen, overthinking everything. Then wonders if sending just a sticker would be weird. That night, Sara stares at her phone like it's some final boss battle. She's never had trouble sending messages before, so why is this suddenly so hard? She immediately tries to deny the obvious. No, it's not because she likes him or anything, she just wants to properly thank him. That's all. After hyping herself up, she finally squeezes her pillow, takes a deep breath, and sends the message. While blushing into the pillow, she quietly admits something to herself. She wants to get closer to Asaisat. Meanwhile, Haruya is in his room staring at his phone, still unable to believe what happened. He actually exchanged contact info with Sara Himekawa, one of the S-class beauties. He opens her contact, Himekawa Sara, and right then, his phone rings. Haruya jumps. From Sara, he opens the message. She asks if he'd come to the rooftop during lunch break tomorrow. Haruya sighs. Apparently, his attempts to lower her opinion of him have failed spectacularly. The next morning, he enters class already exhausted because that message kept him awake half the night. Then he hears something that nearly kills him. Rin is loudly reacting to how fast Sara exchanged contact info with her mystery guy. Haruya freezes. Please stop talking. Please, for the love of peace. Yuna comments that it really feels like fate. Sara turns red and says it's a secret. That only makes things worse. Rin and Yuna start teasing her harder. Sara says she doesn't want it widely known yet, especially around people as sharp as them.
Rin and Yuna pause. Then Yuna reassures her that she can talk whenever she feels ready read, while physically stopping Rin from going full detective mode. Sarah suddenly asks something of them. Does the name Yu Asai sound familiar? Haruya's soul leaves his body. It's over. He's cooked. But then, Yuna says that's the name of a shoujo manga protagonist. She asks why Sarah brought it up. Sarah says someone she knows mentioned that character being cool. Rin comments that Yuna doesn't really seem like the shoujo manga type. Yuna gets really nervous and says her cousin reads it. Haruya internally collapses in relief. Crisis avoided, barely. At lunch break, Haruya runs to the rooftop. If Sarah's opinion of him still hasn't dropped, then today he'll force it down somehow. He slaps both cheeks. Focus. Mission, lower favorability. He opens the door. Sarah's already there. She thanks him for coming. Haruya sits beside her with a deliberate 2-meter gap. Yes, perfect. Annoy her, make things awkward. Genius. But Sarah just scoots closer and softly says she doesn't need to sit that far away. Mission already failing. Haruya pulls out a convenience store sandwich and starts eating. Sarah asks if he always buys lunch from stores. He casually says cooking is too much work since he lives alone. In his head, he celebrates. Nice. Now she'll think I'm lazy. Big minus points. Then Sarah blushes and holds out a bento. She asks if he'd like to try it. Haruya freezes. She explains she called him here because she still wanted to properly thank him for saving her and for being kind that day. She says she wants him to accept her gratitude. Haruya internally screams. He can't refuse that, so he accepts the bento. Then his brain comes up with another plan. Simple. Eat everything. Surely eating all of a girl's handmade lunch without restraint would make him look rude. Yes, this'll work. So he eats and eats and eats until the lunchbox is empty, completely empty. Sarah stares at the lunchbox. Haruya looks up. Then Sarah asks, hopeful and slightly nervous, would he like to eat lunch with me from now on? She says she'll wait here again tomorrow. Haruya's brain stops functioning. That was not the expected result, but somehow he still agrees. Sarah smiles brightly, thanks him, and runs off. Haruya stands there in stunned silence. Maybe that lowered her opinion, right? Back in class, he immediately hears the girls talking again, and every ounce of hope dies. Sarah is blushing while saying that watching someone genuinely enjoy the food she made felt incredibly precious. Rin says that would make her happy too. Yuna agrees. Rin quickly connects the dots and asks if that's why Sarah disappeared during lunch. Sarah gets flustered. She denies it, but admits that even imagining it made her really happy. Haruya freezes at the door. No way. No actual way. Sarah explains that at first she thought he was just being polite, but after seeing how much he ate, she realized he genuinely liked it. Then she quietly admits something. She wasn't confident in her cooking. Yuna says if he ate that much, it definitely wasn't flattery. Rin says the amount someone eats reflects how comfortable and trusting they feel. Sarah softly wonders if Asai-san felt that way too. Rin says she hopes Sarah gets another chance to cook for him. Yuna cheers for her. Sarah thanks them. She looks genuinely happy. Haruya, everything he's done has backfired every single time. The only thing he successfully protected is his secret identity, and at this point, that's the only thing keeping him alive.
That evening, he messages the one person he thinks might help, Nayu-san. He asks if they can meet tonight. She agrees. At the cafe, Haruya gets straight to the point. He says he wants advice. Nayu gives him a suspicious look. She basically asks if he seriously called her out just to brag about getting praised by the popular girls in class. Haruya panics and denies it. Then Nayu says something important. If he spends more time with someone, maybe they'll naturally see his true self, which leads to the most terrifying thing Haruya has done so far. He asks Sarah out on a date. When they meet, Haruya nervously tells her he wants to know her better, then asks if she'd go on a date with him this weekend. Sarah freezes. For a moment, she just stares. Then her entire face lights up. She happily accepts. And just like that, the date is set. On the day of the date, Haruya is already stressed. This entire thing was supposed to help lower her opinion of him. Instead, he feels like he's marching towards his own destruction. On the way there, he ends up helping a lost little girl. By the time a police officer arrives, Haruya is holding the little girl while checking the time in panic. The officer confirms his identity and says they'll handle things from there. He notices the little girl is weirdly attached to Haruya, but reminds him he probably has somewhere important to be. Haruya apologizes and rushes off. He already texted Sarah he'd be late, and now he's worried. Great. He might have lowered her opinion before the date even started. When he finally arrives, Sarah is waiting patiently on a bench. He apologizes for being late. She asks if something happened. Haruya lies and says he missed the train. Sara accepts that without pressing him. Then she smiles and asks about the plan for today. Haruya straightens up. This is it, his battlefield. He tells her to leave everything to him. Sara happily agrees. From here onward, he'll take control of the date and absolutely destroy his image. That's the plan. First stop, ramen. Second, roller skating. Third, a shooting arcade. By the end, both of them are exhausted and resting. Sara comments that they played a lot. Haruya agrees, but internally, he lost every single game. He gave it everything he had and still got demolished. At this point, he thinks she probably sees him as hopeless. Honestly, he feels pathetic. But one thing becomes obvious. Sara is insanely athletic. He mentions it. Sara smiles and says she's the daughter of the prestigious Himekawa family. Haruya gives her a flat look. That has nothing to do with athletic ability. Sara blinks. Clearly, she didn't expect that response. Then she slowly opens up. She explains that her family is strict and conservative with heavy traditions. Because of that, she's expected to excel at everything. Academics, sports, behavior, all of it. Haruya listens quietly. He thinks about how hard that must be. If he were in her position, he probably would have run away. No matter how privileged someone looks from the outside, effort is still effort. In the end, she had to do all that work herself. So he tells her something sincere. He says she isn't amazing because she's a Himekawa. She's amazing because she worked for it, because she herself is amazing. Sara goes silent. Her face turns red, then softly she thanks him. Just when the date seems to be ending peacefully, someone suddenly calls out, "Haruya!" A little girl runs straight toward him. Sara turns and asks if he knows her. Haruya immediately says no and tells Sara not to worry about it. Yeah, terrible lie. Because the little girl keeps running toward them, happily shouting his name again and again. A woman rushes after her, telling her not to run off like that. The girl calls the mom her mom and proudly announces that she found Haruya. Then the mother looks at him and asks if he's the one who helped take Mio to the police earlier. Haruya's soul exits his body. He's finished. Cooked? Done. Sara repeats Haruya's name in confusion. Haruya's brain is in full emergency mode now. His fake identity, his secret, everything is about to collapse. In pure panic, he tries ending the date immediately, but Sara stops him. Then she says it. Akasaki-san. Direct hit. No dodging that. She found out. Haruya braces for disaster. But instead of getting angry, Sara gently asks if the reason he was late was because he helped that lost child. He pauses, then quietly admits it. Sara smiles. She says he should have just told her. Haruya blinks. Huh? Sara calmly says yes, finding out his real name was unexpected, but she isn't upset that he used a fake one. Haruya apologizes and explains. He didn't want to stand out at school. He didn't want unnecessary trouble. Sara listens and simply says she understands. Just like that, she tells him not to worry. Haruya is stunned. He expected the worst. Instead, she accepted him immediately. As she leaves, she cheerfully tells him she'll see him at school, and Haruya still can't relax. Because sure, she promised to keep it secret, but his peaceful school life feels one step away from destruction. The next day in class, Haruya sits with his head down, still stressed. Then he hears Rin asking Sara about her ideal type. Rin starts listing traits. Someone who helps people in trouble. Someone who doesn't use that as an excuse. Someone who quietly hides what they did. Haruya stiffens. That's way too specific. Sara looks like she's having fun listening. Then she starts talking about something that happened at a shopping mall. Rin suddenly cuts herself off, almost like she realized she said too much. Haruya narrows his eyes. Wait, did Sara just almost expose their secret? He decides he needs to talk to her during lunch. Before you can think further, homeroom starts. Tokoyama-sensei arrives and announces something for the final class. There'll be an exchange event with other groups. Rules are simple. Gather in the gym, rotate groups 4 times, and talk for 3 minutes with each group. The class reacts with excitement. Then one of the boys says what everyone's already thinking. Since their class has the S-class beauties, other classes are definitely going to want to pair with them. Everyone starts buzzing. Meanwhile, Haruya is suffering. He just wants lunch already. At lunch, he meets Sara on the rooftop. She starts awkwardly, switching between names before finally calling him Agasaki-san. Haruya asks something that's been bothering him. Why didn't she try harder to figure out his real identity, even after realizing Yu Asai was fake? Sara gives a simple answer, because it felt like he didn't want her to. Then she smiles. Instead of forcing answers, she says she'd rather learn more about him naturally, through little coincidences. That hits Haru way harder than expected. For a second, his heart actually skips. He awkwardly looks away. Even emotional damage is failing to reduce her interest. Amazing. Sarah then asks if his class heard about the exchange event too. Haruya awkwardly says yes. Internally, he's like, we are literally in the same class. Sarah says she's looking forward to it and secretly hopes she gets paired with him. Haruya, meanwhile, is praying to every known deity that he does not get paired with her.
Then they eat lunch together. At one point, some sauce spills on Haruya's shirt. Sada notices immediately and offers him a tissue. He thanks her and realizes something. Ever since she learned his real identity, he's been way more flustered. Later, the exchange event begins. Round 1, Round 2, Round 3. Haruya somehow survives all of them without being paired with Sada. He feels hope. Just one round left. Hang in there. Then the final rotation happens and fate says no. Sada sits in front of him. She introduces herself politely. I'm Himekaba Sada. Haruya, internally screaming, introduces himself as Akasaki from the same class. He's trembling. This is basically camouflaged by desperation. Sada repeats his name. He nods nervously. Then she casually comments on his long hair and asks if he likes it. Haruya says yes. She says long hairs must be hard to maintain. He agrees. Then her eyes land on something. The stain on his shirt. The same stain from lunch. The same stain she saw on the rooftop. Her expression changes. Dots connect. She slowly stands. Then asks the question, is he actually in the same class as her? Haruya knows it's over. Still, he tries denying it. Weakly. Very weakly. Sada gently points out that his excuse is kinda impossible. Haruya gives up. He admits it. Sada softly laughs. Then the exchange event ends. Everyone returns to class. Later, Sada walks alone, completely overwhelmed. She can't believe it. Akasaki, the person she's been meeting, was right beside her, all along. Her classmate. The realization hits hard. Then another thought makes her freeze. Everything she said during the exchange, that basically sounded like a confession. Her face burns. She thinks fate is terrifying. Then her phone buzzes. At first, she thinks it's probably Rin or Yuna, but no, it's her father. She opens the message. Her arranged marriage partner has been decided. Everything stops. Her grip tightens around the phone. Reality crashes back in. She reminds herself who she is, Sada Himekaba, daughter of the Himekaba family, someone who has obligations, someone who doesn't get to freely choose everything. Rin and Yuna find her soon after. They notice something's wrong immediately. Sada says it's nothing serious, just her own issue. Rin tries to cheering her up by talking about crepes from a shop they visited before. Yuna gently tells Sarah they're there for her whenever she's ready to talk. Sarah thanks them. She says she wants some fresh air first. After they leave, she stands there alone. She thinks about the romance stories she loves, the normal kind of romance. Things ordinary people can experience. She wants that, even just a little. But then she reminds herself again, she's a Himekoma. Normal romance isn't something she's supposed to have. Still, there's time. She looks at her phone, closes her eyes, then opens them. One name fills her mind, Akasaki-san, and she sends him a message. After school, Rooftop, one last request. When Haruya reads the message, he gets nervous. One last request. That wording feels dangerous. Still, he decides to go. Maybe this is his chance to make sure she won't reveal his identity. When he reaches the rooftop, Sara's already there. She thanks him for coming. Then, after hesitating, she hands him a letter. Haruya opens it. Inside are 3 written requests. Walk home together, study together, go to the beach together. This is literally a romance bucket list. He points that out. Sada blushes but admits that yes, that's exactly what it is. Haruya thinks for a moment. If agreeing to these helps protect his identity, then honestly, this is manageable, so he accepts. Sara's entire face brightens. She thanks him repeatedly, then asks if they can start with the first one today, walking home together. Haruya agrees. After school, Sarah runs to meet him and apologizes for making him wait. Haruya says he just arrived too. Sarah laughs and comments that it's hard to believe he's the same person from school. Then she mentions his hair looks pretty long. Haruya says people tell him that often, but he likes it. Sarah blushes and quietly admits something. She kind of likes that she's the only one who knows this side of him. They start walking home together. Haruya deliberately waited until most students had already left school, so nobody should see them. As they walk, he stays slightly ahead. Sarah wonders if he's doing that to protect her. Then she spots a crepe shop. Haruya notices her attention and asks if she wants one. Sarah lights up and eagerly agrees. But the moment they get closer, Haruya freezes. 2 familiar figures are there, Rin and Yuna. Out of all places, of course, panic. Maximum panic. Yuna notices Sarah first. Then she looks at Haruya and asks who he is.
Haruya instantly goes into survival mode. He says he was just buying crepes and they happened to run into each other. Smooth, very smooth. Thankfully, Ren and Yuna seem to accept it. Haruya internally sighs of relief. Then Yuna asks Sarah if she's feeling better. Sarah smiles and apologizes for worrying them earlier. Yuna steps closer to Haruya, then casually says his hair is really long and maybe he should cut it. Sarah visibly tenses. Haruya awkwardly says he'll think about it. Then Yuna smiles in a very dangerous way. She says she knows what people are thinking, and she won't deny it. Then she drops the bomb. This meeting with Sarah feels kind of fateful. Haruya feels pressure instantly. He asks if this is related to the rumor everyone's been talking about. Yuna confirms it. Just from hearing about him, she already thought he sounded cool. Haruya is dying inside. 3 S-class beauties at once? Yeah, no, that's torture. Meanwhile, Sarah is standing there, blushing so hard she probably wants the ground to swallow her whole. Later, Haruya gets a message from Sarah. She says even though things didn't go exactly as planned, taking that little detour felt like a real high school experience, and she really enjoyed it. Haruya replies, I had fun too. Then he awkwardly asks if walking home together can be considered complete now. Sarah agrees, but reminds him there are still 2 items left. Next, studying together. Haruya accepts. As he walks home, he wonders whether he handled everything properly. Still, only 2 requests remain.
On the rooftop during their study session, Sarah is explaining a math problem. She carefully goes through how the integers should be applied. Haruya stares at the page like it's written in an alien language. Then he admits he understood absolutely nothing, but he does compliment her teaching. Sarah blushes and thanks him shyly. After studying for a while, Haruya suggests taking a break. He pulls out his phone. Sarah notices and asks if he's playing Tetris. Haruya says yeah, sometimes he plays during breaks. Then he loses immediately. Sarah peeks at the screen. Haruya offers to let her try. Sarah confidently says she'll be good at it. Haruya gives her the classic warning, beginners always say that. Sarah insists. Then she absolutely destroys the game at an insane speed. Haruya just stares. What? How? Sarah flashes a cute victory sign and casually explains that once you understand the basics, it's all about practice and pattern recognition. Haruya internally sighs. Why is she giving a professional esports breakdown for Tetris? He hands her another game, this time a racing game. Sarah eagerly accepts. As she plays, she starts leaning with the phone, tilting her whole body while steering. And because of that, she bumps into Haruya repeatedly. Haruya becomes painfully aware of how close she is. Then a clown character appears in the game. Sarah immediately gets annoyed and starts complaining about that clown. Haruya calmly explains that the clown has absurd taunt potential and suggests maybe they should get back to studying. Sarah says one more round. She looks at him seriously, then softly asks, "That's okay, right?" Haruya wants to refuse. He really does. But then he folds. A few moments later, she loses. Instantly. She raises the phone and starts yelling about how annoying that clown is. Haruya panics. Later, Haruya walks home relieved that his phone somehow survived. Then Sarah messages him again. She apologizes for turning their study session into a gaming session. Haruya replies that if she had fun, then that's what matters. Sarah responds immediately. She still can't forgive that clown. Haruya can't help but smile a little. Now the study session is complete. Only one request remains. The beach, the final request. Even though he knows that, for some reason, the thought lingers in his chest. Then the final request arrives, the beach. Sarah happily runs into the water, splashing around with a bright smile. She looks genuinely happy. Sarah looks at the ocean and says it's beautiful. Haruya, standing behind her, quietly agrees. It really is. Sarah stands in the shallow water, smiling nervously as she says, "Being out here dressed like this feels embarrassing." Haruya looks away slightly, flustered. Later, they sit together on the beach stairs. Sarah calls his name. Haruya looks up while cleaning his glasses. Then Sarah thanks him for everything. Haruya senses something is off. He asks if she's really okay with ending things like this. Sarah says it's more than enough. She says because of him, she got to experience something she always wanted, a normal romance.
She talks about everything that happened. He saved her when she was in trouble, they met again, they found out they were classmates. Blushing, she admits she was drawn to that kind of fated encounter. That's why she asked him to pretend to have a normal romance with her. Pretend. That word lands heavily. Sarah stands. She says everything was fun and thanks him again. Then she apologizes. Haruya looks confused. Sarah sits down again. She says she dragged him into all of this for selfish reasons. Haruya speaks silent for a moment. Then, unexpectedly, he thanks her. Sarah's expression shakes. She looks like she's barely holding herself together. She says there were times she wanted to run away, but when she looks back, maybe those days weren't bad at all. Then she grips her hand tightly. She says this is exactly why he's unfair, because he says things like that. Sarah stands again. Tears gather in her eyes. She says she doesn't deserve to hear those words. Then she confesses the truth. She tricked him. Haruya asks what she means. Sarah finally reveals everything. She always knew her arranged marriage would eventually be decided. She always knew she wouldn't be allowed to love freely. That's why she did all of this, because she wanted to experience romance at least once before that future arrived. Tears fall. She says she doesn't deserve kindness. Haruya stays quiet. Then he softly says her name. Sarah looks at him. He tells her something simple. Even after hearing all that, he doesn't feel angry. He reminds her that he lied too. He hid behind a fake identity, so blaming only her wouldn't make sense. Sarah tries to interrupt, but Haruya continues. He says he understands she has circumstances. Living in a strict family like hers and still keeping herself together, most people couldn't do that. He knows he couldn't. If he were in her position, he probably would have rebelled a long time ago. So no, he doesn't think she did something unforgivable. She just wanted to breathe. Just a little, and he doesn't hate her for that. Sarah trembles. She asks why he's being so kind. Haruya stands, then says if he were born into the Himikawa family, he'd probably become a delinquent. But she's still crying. She touches his chest and lowers her head. She says, if he talks to me like this, I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. I'd planned to say goodbye with a smile. Now I can't even do that. She grabs his shirt tightly. She says that's exactly why she doesn't deserve his kindness. Haruya gently tells her he doesn't believe that. He reminds her that she has friends who genuinely care about her. Sarah tries to speak, but stops, because Haruya is looking directly into her eyes. Then suddenly, she hooks him tightly and says he's unfair. Haruya awkwardly says he's really not that great. She pulls back slightly, then says something heartbreaking. If hearing his words makes me this happy, doesn't that make me even worse? Haruya thinks he's close, very close. The sadness surrounding her feels like it's just one step away from breaking, and then he realizes it. The biggest obstacle, the engagement, that's what's trapping her. If that obstacle disappears, maybe she can finally move forward. Haruya clenches his fist, then says something that shocks her. They should go to her house. Sarah freezes. Haruya says he'll go with her and they'll stop the engagement. Even if her parents are strict, maybe they'll listen if someone stands beside her. Sarah stares at him, then shakes her head. No way. She's never talked back to her father, not once. There's no way she can suddenly stand against him.
Haruya walks a few steps down the stairs and turns toward her, then asks what she actually wants. Does she truly want this engagement? Because from where he stands, it doesn't look like it. Sarah lowers her head, then gives the answer she's buried for so long. She hates the arranged marriage. She wants to fall in love freely. She wants the kind of destined love she always dreamed about. But every time she stands in front of her father, she freezes. Her voice disappears. She can't fight back. Then she slowly walks toward Haruya, stops right in front of him, looks into his eyes and asks if she's with him, could she do it? Could he help her?
Haruya doesn't hesitate. He nods. They'll go together. Sarah's expression finally brightens.
She agrees. Then with a small laugh, she says she wants to look at the ocean one more time before leaving.
Haruya agrees.
As he watches her, he thinks about everything. If they can get through this together, the bond between them will become unshakable.
And yeah, part of him still thinks this will help keep his identity safe. But more than that, he realizes something. When it comes to Sarah, he can't just leave her alone. He wants to help her move forward. He wants to see her smile.
Sara turns back toward him, calls his name, smiling. Haruya feels something shift in his chest. Then Sara says they should head back soon. Haruya agrees and quietly admits to himself maybe he got carried away too. And that's where this part ends. Man, things escalated from I want peaceful school life to let's go fight your family real fast. My guy really speed ran romance mode. In terms of a story, this manga gets a mediocre rating from me, about a 6 out of 10. And if you enjoyed this recap, maybe hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next part.